Lisa? Lisa?
Hi, Honorable Ntungeni.
I'm fine, Nene.
Just tilt your screen slightly towards yourself.
I'm also okay, Lisa.
Yes, ma'am, you look fine.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Are we ready, Advocate?
Yes, Chair, we may proceed.
And no, thank you very much.
Recording in progress.
I will then begin by bowing to my right and bow to my left. And having done so, in keeping with that tradition, we will now observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. May I take this opportunity to remind delegates that rules and processes do apply for this hybrid sitting, and remind delegates of the rules relating to virtual and hybrid meetings and sitting, in particular sub-rule 21, sub-rule 22, and sub-rule 23 of Rule 103, which provides as follows. That the hybrid sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, as members know, that delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. That for purpose of the quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered present. That delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak. That delegates should ensure that the microphones on the electronic devices are muted and must always remain muted unless they are permitted to speak. That all delegates in the chamber must insert their cards to register on the chamber system. That delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphones. That all delegates may participate in the discussions through the chat room. And that in addition, one would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, special delegates, and members of the executive on the virtual platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facilities on the electronic devices are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. That permanent delegates, special delegates, and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation instruments on their desks to access the interpretation facilities. Having done so, I will now allow an opportunity for delegates to give and present notices of motions. Any member wishing to table a notice of a motion, please indicate. We'll start with the Honorable Ndongeni, to be followed by Honorable Malika, and then move on to Mushodi and end with Mukause. Okay. Mama Kano as well wants to table a motion, notice of a motion. Okay. Mama Kano will be the last. Let's start. Honorable Ndongeni. Honorable Ndongeni, please proceed. There seems to be a problem there with Honorable Ndongeni. So we'll start with Honorable Malika. Honorable Malika.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debate the strengthening and expediting of efforts geared at finding solution to a multitude of challenges faced by various municipalities in the provision of water and sanitation services to the communities they serve. I so move.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Malika. We'll then move on to Honorable Mushod.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Good afternoon. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debate the ways of addressing the constraint of 30 days non-compliance by government department and its huge implication on small business critical survival. I so move, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mushodi. Honorable Mukause.
Thank you, Chair of the Council. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that in its next sitting, the Council debates and finds solutions on the ongoing lawlessness happening in communities and the killings that are happening in the John Taulo region of the Northern Cape. I so move.
Thank you very much. We'll then move on to Honorable Mamari Khan. Honorable Mamari Khan.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in the next sitting debates the strengthening of the criminal justice system by increasing the number of sexual offences courts to ensure harsher sentences are imposed to GBVF related crimes and stricter bail condition for suspects. I so move, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mamar Khan. To be followed by Honorable Professor.
Honorable Chair, my connection is not so good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this Council notes with concern that the Northwest Province is currently hit hard by drought that have severely impacted water availability, farm production and livestock holdings. The Northwest Province, like several other provinces in the country, are currently exposed to a drought disaster, including crops and livestock, following the low rainfall and heat wave. Recognizes that 1.4 million hectares of the Northwest was destroyed by uncontained fires driven by high winds. Commercial farmers, upcoming farmers and existing farmers lost livestock and livelihoods and all their grazing fields. Due to very low seasonal rainfall, grazing fields were not able to be restored to sustain fodder supply for winter. We request that the Northwest Premier declare the Northwest Province a drought disaster area in all 4 municipalities in the 2023-2024 hydrological year. It is evident that the effects of the fire disaster and the subsequent drought will affect food security in the province and cause direct production losses on the current crop season and the possibility of job losses. Request an urgent intervention on the state of the drought through the Provincial Disaster Management Centre and in consultation with the National Department of Agriculture, as well as further engagement with the National Disaster Management Centre for possible disaster relief in collaboration with the National Treasury. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Professor. Let's go back to Honorable Ndongeni. Please, can you just ensure that Honorable Ndongeni is assisted? and that she becomes a bit more audible. Honorable Ndongeni, unmute.
Maybe she must switch off the video, Chair.
Switch off the video. Okay. Let's go on to Honorable Lihihi. Honorable Lihihi, notice of a motion. Honorable Lihihi. Please proceed.
Okay. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that Council knows that this past Friday, on 8 March 2024, we commemorated International Women's Day, a day set aside to celebrate women and girls around the world. Further note that the German Marxist theorist and activist Clara Zetkin proposed this concept of an International Women's Day back in 1910. Acknowledge that Clara carefully identified the struggle for women as a socialist struggle.
Honorable Lihihi, please unmute. And can I ask other honorable members to please not interfere with the system and create unnecessary difficulties. Yeah, please proceed.
Okay, where was I? Acknowledge that Clara carefully identified the struggle for women as a socialist struggle, an ideal which is still relevant for our own society today, because the struggle for the emancipation of women has not changed much, particularly in our own country. Further acknowledge that today in South Africa, women are faced of poverty. We suffer the most from crime, and when we are lucky to find employment, we are paid less than the men, even for doing the same work. Recognize that the EFF is the only political party that has consistently waged the struggle for women emancipation since its formation. The EFF reaffirms its commitment to the complete emancipation of women and dedicates this International Women's Day to the women of Palestine, who lives under permanent conditions of war and violence due to Israel's apartheid occupation. I so move.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Lihihi. Honorable members, we will then move on to motions without notice. Any motion without notice? Let's start with Honorable Khai. Honorable Khai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Please proceed, Honorable Khai.
Okay, thanks, Honorable disrupting.
Sorry, yes, I'm sorry for that. I thought we were on motion without notice.
We are only starting now.
I want to start now. Please, Honorable Khai, proceed.
Hey, Khai, don't chair the session. Khai, you're not a chair of the session.
I'll take you off the platform.
Khai, please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House applauds the Eastern Cape government led by Premier Oscar Mabuyane for its dedicated efforts in tracking and tracing ex-mine workers who have not received their due benefits upon leaving their employment since the 1960s. Note with appreciation that the Eastern Cape has successfully tracked and traced 49,890 ex-mine workers through outreach and municipal-based walk-in services, paying 18,555 of them, an impressive amount of 756 million rands to date. Further noting that the Eastern Cape ANC mandated the provincial government in 2018 to address the plight of the ex-mine workers by hosting the 2019 Ex-Mine Workers Summit that established the Ex-Mine Workers Council, who then adopted the Eastern Cape Ex-Mine Workers Intervention Program, recognizing that the successful model implemented in the Eastern Cape has been extended to other provinces and Southern African Development Community region. Congratulating the ANC-led Eastern Cape government for its outstanding leadership and for being a beacon of hope for the ex-mine workers and the working class in general. I so move. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Khai. Any objection to the motion?
I object to this motion. Last week, this motion was raised. We object to the corruption of the Eastern Cape government.
There being an objection, the motion will not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable Mtetwa. We'll pass on.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Oh, please.
Yes, Chair. The Honorable Chair, I raise without notice that this August House note with concern the continuing disruption of the construction of by the construction mafias, especially in the province of Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. This disruption deprives our community of essential government services and threatens investment in the affected areas. Therefore, calls on the criminal justice to intensify the fight against this scourge of construction mafias by strengthening the partnership and collaboration with the local community and our court of law to impose harsh sentences on those that are found guilty of this crime. I so move, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mtetwa. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore carried to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Damen.
Thank you, Chairperson. I move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus without notice that this House notes that the Kopanong local municipality hasn't been able to pay salaries since December last year, due to their accounts being frozen as a result of non-payments to pension funds and medical aid schemes. Also notes that the employees of the Kopanong local municipality are now on strike due to the non-payment of salaries and that no services are being delivered to residents. Also notes that the Kopanong local municipality has been under 30% water restrictions for more than 2 years now. And further notes that it has been more than a year since the Deputy President intervened in the Kopanong local municipality and more than 6 months since the Kopanong municipality was placed under 139 intervention to no avail. And further notes that the situation in the Kopanong municipality is a direct violation of citizens' human rights as stated in Article 27 of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the Republic, and that to this day the government hasn't been able or has the capacity to turn around this failure by the municipality. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Damen. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore carried to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House notes that the Police Service National Counterfeit Unit had a successful integrated takedown operation in the Johannesburg CBD on Friday, the 8th of March, 2024. Also notes that the operation resulted in the seizure of counterfeit goods worth over 9 million rand. Further notes that in the operation, the team seized over 11,000 counterfeit items, such as clothing, apparel, shoes, watches, handbags, and sunglasses. Understands that this was the third takedown operation in Gauteng province in the last 4 weeks. Also understands that the total value of the counterfeit goods seized for the past 4 weeks is over 30 million rand. Believes that counterfeit goods have a detrimental impact on the economic growth of South Africa and commends the South African Police Service for remaining relentless in their efforts to uproot the illicit trade in counterfeit goods. I so move. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shait. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. We'll move on to Honorable Bibi. Honorable Bibi.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House wishes South African Muslims and the Muslim communities at large well on the holy month of Ramadan. It believes that Ramadan is dedicated to spiritual devotion, physical sacrifices, and charitable outreach for Muslims. And also believes that it is an opportunity and a time for Muslims all over the world to connect in faith and prayers. Moreover, with those Muslims facing hardships and challenging conditions in some parts of the world. And remembers especially millions of people who are observing Ramadan under conditions of conflicts, war, displacement, and oppression. And also calls all South Africans to keep in prayers the people of Palestine, Yemen, Sudan, the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, Western Sahara, Mali, and others to whom this holy month is a time of great hardship and suffering. I so move, Chairperson. Thank you. We can't hear you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bibi. Maybe I should pose the question again. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Dango.
Chairperson.
Honorable Dango will follow.
Chairperson, kopa go botsa.
Yes. On what point are you raising?
A ke ka ke butlo go bua ke khona go bua motion wa ka gape kgotsa because ke dirile pause.
Yeah, pause out like Sheba it's noted. No, thank you very much. Honorable Dango.
Chairperson, I hereby move without notice that the Council notes with utmost concern the hike in murders in the Gauteng province. Two further notes that at least 1,787 people were murdered in Gauteng from October to December 2023, which is an increase of 3.8 compared to the same period in 2022, and that the 1,787 people murdered, 214 were women and 55 were children. Three further notes that an analysis of a sample of the 1,691 cases revealed that the three top contributors of the general increase of murder were arguments, misunderstandings, provocation, and road rage, which accounts for 185 cases, followed by house business and business robberies, which accounts for 154 cases, and vigilantism, which counts for 84 cases, acknowledges that these statistics are a clear indication of the pervasiveness of armed violence, blatant disregard for the rule of law, and intolerable utter criminality, and calls upon the MEC for Community Safety in Gauteng, the Minister of Police, to develop an emergency response to wage a concerted battle against the pervasiveness of armed violence. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dango. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Next is Honorable Mahlangu.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC. Just a second, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the ANC that the Council today marks 44 years since the death of anti-apartheid activist and founder member of the African National Congress Women's League, Lillian Masidiba Matabane Ngoyi, who was fondly known as Mama Ngoyi, who died on the 13th March 1980 at the age of 68 years. Further note that Lillian Ngoyi, who was born in Pretoria in 1911, having been drawn into politics via her work in the Garment Workers' Union of South Africa in the 1940s, joined the ANC Women's League in 1952, and a year later was elected as president of the Women's League, and in 1954, she helped to found the Federation of South African Women and was elected to the national executive of the ANC and became the first woman to be elected to the national office. Further notes that in 1956, Lillian Ngoyi led a march against the past laws for women to the union buildings and personally knocked on Prime Minister J.G. Stradom's door to hand over the petitions, and takes this opportunity to pay homage to Ngoyi for her indelible contribution in the fight against apartheid and championing for gender equality in our society. I so move, Honorable Chairperson, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mahlangu. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Malika.
Chairperson is for Honorable Nkosi. She was struggling with the network, but she's in now.
Let's proceed then to Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the National Congress that the House welcomes the unwavering commitment of the Department of Health to employ about 800 recently qualified health professionals by the end of March 2024. Note that this commitment to employ such many professionals is a result of an increase to the budget of the department, as alluded to by the Minister of Finance in his budget speech. Further note that the commitment also stems from the department's promise made to the protesting doctors in February that their plight should be sorted after the Minister of Finance budget speech. Understands that already 270 health professionals have received appointment letters. Believes that this undertaking by the Department of Health will go a long way in improving access to the quality of public health services in South Africa, and commends the department for keeping its promise and ensuring that jobless qualified health professionals are absorbed in public health institutions. I so move, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkosi. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nchabele.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I hereby move without notice that the Council notes that Friday, 15 March, marks International Day to Combat Islamophobia, which is a day that was launched in 2019 by the United Nations Secretary General as a strategy and plan of action on hate speech as a response to the alarming trend of rising hate speech, fear, prejudice, and hatred of Muslims around the world. In his message to the International Day to Combat Islamophobia last year, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that Muslims continue to face institutional discrimination, barriers, and violations of their human rights and dignity at an alarming rate in many states and communities across the world. Further, notes that the war on Gaza has intensified the growing divisive rhetoric, bigotry, and misrepresentation of the Muslims. Acknowledge that while international norms and standards provide a framework to combat incitement to discrimination and violence, laws are not enough. States should also adopt policies and programs that promote diversity and freedom of expression, especially in multicultural and interconnected societies. I so move, Chair. Muted, Chairperson. You are muted.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Nchabele. May I raise a question again? Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. We'll proceed to Honorable Dodovu. Honorable Dodovu.
Thank you, Chair. I battle with my video and everything else. I apologize for that. Honorable Chair, I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House express its shock and sadness on the passing of a South African soccer legend, Siphiwe Mkhonza, popularly known as Dr. Mnandi in the soccer circles. Know that Siphiwe Mkhonza was born on the 2nd of January 1979 and passed away on the 5th of March 2024. Further note that the late Mkhonza played as a central defender for teams like Bloemfontein Celtics, Ria Stars, Lamontville Golden Arrows, Kaizer Chiefs, and the national team, Bafana Bafana. Also note that his father, Joseph Skeshe Mkhonza, was a soccer great himself, who later coached the national women's soccer team, Banyana Banyana, during the 2012 Summer Olympics. We hereby send our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and the entire soccer-loving public. I so move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dodovu. An objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nsube, to follow.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the Council. Allow me to raise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House notes with concern the escalating levels of data breaches in South Africa, which continues to threaten our national security. That these patterns of breaches seems to target institutions that host critical information about the personal and financial details of individuals, which can expose these individuals to criminal victimization. As reported by the media, the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, CIPC, is the latest victim of this breach on the 29th of February 2024. Believing that South Africa is being targeted by international cybercrime syndicates to undermine the rule of law and national security, therefore condemns in the strongest term possible these criminal activities and call on criminal justice cluster to leave no stone unturned in identifying perpetrators of these crimes and bring them to book. And further call on for the comprehensive review of the national capabilities and the efficiency of our legislation in dealing with cybercrimes as a matter of urgency. I so move, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nsube. Any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Muima.
Ausitshaba wa Khaledi province. Allow me to rise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House notes with concern the opportunistic and disparate behavior by the shadow minister, the so-called shadow minister of the Democratic Alliance for soliciting partisan observer status of the United States government during the coming national and provincial elections on the 29th May 2024. That this behavior is tantamount to a motion of no confidence in the ability of the Independent Electoral Commission to conduct free and fair elections and the efficacy of our electoral laws to regulate the free and fair elections, which the Democratic Alliance have never pronounced publicly. Believing that this behavior undermines the sovereignty of the South African as a state and is driven by the panic mode of the DA due to a possible significant decline of its electoral support in the coming elections, therefore calls on all South Africans to condemn this heinous behavior in the strongest possible terms and call upon South Africans to punish them in the coming national election. I so move, Honorable National Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Muima. Any objection to the motion?
Object.
Object.
There being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with, and will become a notice of a motion. Thank you very much. Honorable members, we will then move on to the first order, consideration of support of Joint Standing Committee on Defense following its engagement with members of the South African defense industry at Rheinmetall, Denel Munition, and Damen Shipyard, dated the 23rd of November 2023. We will then move on and call on Honorable M.E. Nchabeleng, co-chairperson of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, to present the committee report. Honorable Nchabeleng.
Thanks, thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, esteemed colleagues and distinguished members of the National Council of Provinces, today I stand before you as a representative of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, tasked with conveying the critical insights and recommendations arising from our recent engagement with key stakeholders in the South African defense industry. Our visits to Rheinmetall, Denel Munition, known as RDM, and Damen Shipyard have provided invaluable perspectives on the state of our national defense capabilities and the challenges facing our industry. The observations gleaned from this engagement underscore the multifaceted nature of the challenges confronting our defense sector. From the imperative of the continuous innovation to the complexities of navigating regulatory frameworks and addressing budgetary constraints, it is evident that a concerted effort is required to ensure the sustained effectiveness of our South African National Defence Force. We commend RDM's reinvestment of profits into increasing production capacity, recognizing the significance of balancing domestic market support with global competitiveness. However, challenges persist in meeting SANDF's requirements promptly, particularly in establishing new production lines for legacy products. The committee emphasizes the importance of strategic planning and collaboration among stakeholders to mitigate the impact of declining defense budgets on industry players like the RDM. Furthermore, the committee acknowledges RDM's commitment to providing maintenance services to the South African Navy, despite contract losses. Compliance with international standards in maritime transport and dedication to skills development for military veterans reflect RDM's commitment to excellence and societal responsibility, values essential for the sustenance of growth of our defense industry. Furthermore, the impact of declining defense budgets on RDMs underscores the final need for innovation, solutions, and collaborative efforts to optimize resource allocation. In this regard, it is imperative that we explore avenues for cost-saving measures without compromising the quality and effectiveness of our defense capabilities. Additionally, we must continue to support initiatives aimed at skills development within the defense sector, ensuring that we have a skilled workforce capable of meeting the evolving needs of our armed forces. In line with the recommendations of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, we advocate for the procurement of a fourth inshore patrol vessel, IPV, for the South African Navy, recognizing its alignment with our goal of enhancing operational capabilities while considering broader SANDF needs and national security imperatives. A comprehensive assessment of naval acquisition needs over the medium to long term is imperative for informed decision-making and resource allocation. The committee underscores the necessity of a written report from the Department of Defense on expected sea hours and the potential impact of a fourth IPV on maintenance programs, facilitating effective planning and resource allocation to ensure the readiness of our naval forces. Moreover, we support the recommendations for follow-up engagement with the RDM to ensure ongoing support to the SANDF and to gain further insights into their production facilities. Such engagements are essential for fostering collaboration and synergies between the public and private sector, ultimately strengthening our national defense capabilities. In conclusion, Chairperson, the Joint Standing Committee on Defense extends its gratitude to RDM and Damen Shipyard, Cape Town, for their cooperation and support to the SANDF as custodians of national security. We are committed to remaining vigilant, proactive, and collaborative in addressing the challenges facing our defense industry. Chairperson, through concerted efforts and strategic investment, we can safeguard our nation's sovereignty and ensure the well-being of our armed forces. Let us work together tirelessly to secure a peaceful and prosperous future for all South Africa. I thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Chamberlain. Honorable delegates, I now put the question. The question is that the report be adopted. Before I proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. And just as a reminder, maximum 3 minutes allowed per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration? None. Thank you very much. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, the delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We'll do so in alphabetical order, starting with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Eastern Cape vote in favor. Thank you.
Cape is voting in favor. Free State?
Free State vote in favor, Chairperson.
Free State votes in favor. Gauteng?
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Gauteng is voting in favor. KwaZulu-Natal?
KwaZulu-Natal eseka sihlalo umbiko.
KwaZulu-Natal support. Limpopo?
Limpopo vote in favor, Chairperson.
Limpopo votes in favor. Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Northern Cape?
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Northern Cape vote in favor. Northwest?
Honorable Chairperson Masondo, Northwest Province, vote in favor. Thank you.
Northwest vote in favor. Thank you very much. Western Cape?
Western Cape support.
Western Cape supports. Thank you very much. Voting having been closed, 9 out of 9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to the second order. Consideration of a report of Select Committee on Finance, announcement tablings and committee reports, 5th of March 2024, page 67, 2024 fiscal framework and revenue proposals dated the 5th of March 2024. I now call on Honorable Mama Rekhane, Select Committee from Select Committee of Finance to present the committee report. Honorable Mama Rekhane.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. I hereby present the report of the Select Committee on Finance on the 2024 fiscal framework and revenue proposals dated 5th March 2024. Honorable Chairperson, as the ANC, we want to state it clear that crystal clear that we are here to adopt the budget as presented by the Honorable Minister. We are doing so with our sober minds because of the following reasons. Despite all the challenges facing the country, the GDP remains stagnant at the average of 0.8% since 2012, and it is expected to average of 1.2% over the medium term. That is a good story to considering all the challenges facing this country post-COVID-19 pandemic period. We approve this budget because of the commitment made by the government of the people in maintaining social wage. This is to elevate the lives of poor people and to put bread on the table for people of South Africa. This is important while the government is busy looking for more suitable and sustainable ways of making sure that youth unemployment in general is permanently exterminated within our midst. Chairperson, this budget brought about the extension of SRD grant until March 2025. That will serve as a relief to our people on the ground. That intervention was also appreciated by stakeholders who came to make presentation before the committee. We as the ANC, we would like to further request National Treasury to seriously consider basic income grant after necessary consultation with relevant stakeholders. We have since referred the matter of SRD grant to the Select Committee on Appropriation for further and thorough consideration. We commend National Treasury to do everything in its power to remove the country in the FATF grey list. We know that this will be a needed intervention to attract investment and stimulate the economy to produce such needed jobs for our people. We are also here to note National Treasury's response that the National Health Insurance allocation of 1.4 billion rand over the medium term in the 2024 budget was only for preliminary upgrading of infrastructure in preparation of the rollout, and that once the president assented to the NHI bill, a whole range of legislative arrangements will kick in, including the proposal funding models. We can't wait for that to happen, as that will better the public health system of the country. Having said that, Chairperson, we also note the time constraints associated with the processing of the fiscal framework. We feel that more time must be given to the committee to process the budget, and that will see better contribution from the stakeholders. We also would like to state categorically clear that all we have mentioned here today requires a speedy implementation of economic reforms and the creation of a conclusive environment for the economy to grow, create jobs, and encourage investment. Honorable Chairperson, the Democratic Alliance reserved its position on this matter. The Economic Freedom Fighters reserved its position. Even the Freedom Front Plus reserved its position. So, Chairperson, I here present this report to the House to be considered. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mama Rakhane. We will then proceed, Honorable Delegates, and I now put the question. The question is that the report be adopted. Before I proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Again, as a reminder, maximum time allowed for doing this is 3 minutes per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, please proceed, Honorable Labuschagne.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Chair, the fiscal framework is built in shaky ground, and everyone knows that the shaky foundation is never a sound platform to build on. This is most certainly true of the South African economy. Our fiscal framework rests on optimistic growth forecasts that Treasury has consistently been demonstrated to be over-projecting. So our income disappoints consistently, and the medium-term revenue and expenditure framework finds itself complacent on the basis of a false sense of security built on growth projections that do not materialize. This is again true in our medium-term projections, where growth revenue collection is projected to return to the growth levels experienced during the commodities boom. Treasury needs to remember that windfalls cannot be relied upon and that hope is not a strategy. On the other side of the equation is the unerringly high staff costs funded by government and the very conservative growth projected in this cost driver, which eats up a large majority of government's spending. Treasury has made a habit of projecting annual increases too conservatively, presupposing the outcomes of bargaining structures. This not only alienates organized labor and gives them a windfall to tilt at, but it also has proven to be counterproductive, particularly in the current financial year, where the final settlement by government caused a raft of serious cuts to service delivery line items across the provincial and national spheres, and actually resulted in the Western Cape declaring an intergovernmental dispute, partly on the basis that a centrally negotiated wage agreement was not centrally funded. As we design fiscal policy, we must look at the actuality of the world and remove ourselves from the fuss of theory into the clamor of reality. It is not enough to blindly push on without a drastic reassessment of spending priorities. Stagnant growth, unbudging inflation, and unmanageable debt levels are the legacy that the ANC have left for the next government to deal with. We are pleased that so many voters are seeing the detailed manifesto of the Democratic Alliance as a way out of the mess that kleptocracy has left us in. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abskakne. Any other province wishing to make a declaration? None. We shall therefore now proceed to...
Chairperson, sorry, I put my hand up.
Yes, Karim.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's a bit disappointing. I thought Ms. Labuschagne would be more adversarial, so I can reply. She's more sedate, but just as wrong, as she always is. Firstly, it's not as if Treasury sucks up these figures for economic growth projections from the air, or it's not a thumb suck. They also consult scientific experts in this area when they arrive at it. But she's right. They've been consistently wrong. But it's not just her view. It's the committee's view. All of us have been raising this with Treasury, and they give us these replies, and we keep challenging them. So we're doing it across parties. It's nothing specific about the DA. She talks about being real, coming down to reality. Why doesn't she do that? In the first instance, we're not a federal state. The Western Cape can't pay different salaries from the rest of the country. It's the same trade unions that are national. There's no like provincial structure of SAMU, IMATU, and so on. So we have to pay a national figure. And it's very good that we want national structure as a state. Then she talks about the DA manifesto. Well, what's in it? You see, part of the problem resides with us as politicians, but a substantial part also resides, Chairperson, with the civil service. Whichever party comes to power will have to deal with the same civil service. We'll have to transform that civil service. That's a long haul. So, it's not as if it's politicians alone. We have increasingly, as the ANC, not least from the president's side, said that we acknowledge that while COVID, the 2008 global crisis, and the global downturn have contributed to our economic stagnation, it's not the only reasons. We've accepted responsibility, not least in our manifesto, for our own failings. But we've gone to the public, and guess what? Despite everything the DA says, the opposition parties are unable to make headway, not least the DA. The same surveys that they throw at us, which they say shows we're going below 50%, are the same surveys that show that the DA is also going down, even in the Western Cape, which they claim a lot about. So if they're doing so well, how come people don't want to vote for them anymore? And why is it they're increasingly representing the white community? Even so-called coloreds are abandoning them in the Western Cape. And we are saying to them, look, you're in bigger trouble than we are. And you know what? With a leader like John, Little John, as I call him, otherwise known as all bluster and no substance, otherwise known as Mr. John Steenhuisen, as culturally and racially tone deaf as he is, you have a snowball, I don't know how this snowball holds in chance, if that's the word, expression of ever winning. And you're in big trouble in the Western Cape too. If you do anything at all, you might slide through. Even your own president, a chairperson or party leader says, he'll be happy now if he gets slightly better than the result they got in 2019. And look at the arrogance, chairperson, about saying Musi Maimane, who's otherwise very skilled and sophisticated, wasn't ready, he's inexperienced. There are racial nuances to that. What is Mr. Steenhuisen experience? Just words, no concrete answers, a lot of bluster, high expectations that the DA is going to do good. And I saw in Media 24, I think yesterday or the day before, he's not going to be happy if he gets slightly better than I think they're 21%. So in other words, the DA and its out-of-touch leader, the one that really lacks reality, Ms. Labuschagne, are talking about maybe 21.5%. And please, that multi-party charter of them is a no-hoper. Even Media 24, their big backers, are admitting to that. You know what? Yeah,
at least we're ethical.
Ultimately,
at least we're not stealing the country.
What will count is the 29th of May. We are challenged, but you are far, far more challenged. In fact, you're a declining force even faster than you claim we are. Thank you very much.
Lot of hogwash.
Chair.
A lot of hogwash, Honorable Karim.
Any other province wishing to make a declaration?
Chairperson, point of order.
We shall now proceed to voting on the question. And I now call upon the province to cast their votes. And when called upon, the heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against,
on a point of order.
Abstain.
Honorable Masondo, there's a point of order that you're
There is no order. No order.
Who wishes to speak on a point of order?
The chairperson, it's me.
Okay, Mikalakis, what's your point?
Thank you, chairperson. Thank you. I did not want to interrupt the declaration of Honorable Karim. However, I do have a question. It's part of my point of order, chairperson. And that is, I do know that the Honorable Karim is perhaps struggling from being demoted from minister, but I don't know when he was promoted to the chief whip of the North. Is not the provincial whip.
You enter,
your point of order.
Sounded like he made the declaration as the chairperson of his Chairperson, can I make my point of order?
Michaelakis must keep quiet now, and the chair must chair and not grant to space.
Michaelakis was saying. Now, Honorable Michaelakis was not raising on a point of order.
Chairperson, I didn't make my point of order.
Thanks, Chairperson, for your ruling. Don't undermine the authority of the chair when he's chairing the meeting.
No, Karim was coming with, so I ruled that to be.
He was never mandated, chairperson, to make a declaration on behalf of his province.
How do you know?
We will, honorable members, proceed.
Thank you very much.
Proceed to voting on the question, and I now call upon the provinces to cast their vote, and when called upon, the delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, abstain. Will do so in alphabetical order, starting with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Eastern Cape votes in favor. Thank you.
Eastern Cape votes in favor. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Chairperson of the Council. Thanks.
Votes in favor. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Gauteng is voting in favor. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal ayaseka sihlanu umbiko.
Thank you very much. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Vote in favor. Mpumalanga.
Pumalanga, vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Mpumalanga votes in favor. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Northern Cape vote in favor. Northwest.
Northwest in favor.
Northwest in
Northwest in favor, Chair.
Western Cape. Western Cape. Honorable Lapuskalkne and the team.
Absent, Chairperson.
The absent, yes. Voting is now closed. And 8 of 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution.
Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chairperson.
Yes, Lapuskalkne. Honorable Lapuskalkne. There seems to be a problem. Anyway, we'll now proceed to the third order. We'll now proceed to the third order. Consideration of the report of Select Committee on Security and Justice. Announcement tablings and committee reports. 6 December 2023, page 119. Petition for the National Council of Provinces to intervene on behalf of Rasiale, her family, on a matter of disappearance of the mortal remains of the son of Miss Mary Rasiale since September 2021 and presumed dead, according to information from the South African Police Services, SAPS, dated 6 December 2023. And now call on Honorable S. Shaik, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Security and Justice, to present the committee report. Honorable Shaik.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to yourself and to all honorable members. Honorable Chairperson, a petition to the National Council of Provinces from Ms. Mary Rasiale on a matter of the disappearance of the mortal remains of her son was referred to the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 19th of October 2023. The petitioner, after exhausting all avenues, including liaising with departments and utilizing the media to find her son's remains, approached Parliament for assistance. On which the Select Committee invited the petitioner, Ms. Mary Rasiale, who was accompanied by her daughter, Ms. Patricia Rahekola, to meet with the committee on the 29th of November 2023. The petitioner was afforded an opportunity to address the committee, and thereafter the departments, being the Department of Police and the Provincial Department of Health, briefed the committee on the events leading up to the situation and the interventions in place to resolve the matter. Honorable Chairperson, the Rasiale family reported that on the 13th of May 2022, the South African Police Services informed Ms. Rasiale that they had found what they presumed was the body of her son, Mr. Khonse Rasiale, in Rustenburg, in the bushes. It appeared that he had committed suicide. The body was discovered in September 2021. The SAPS identified the body through his fingerprints and thereafter traced the family. The SAPS informed the family that standard procedures required the police to take DNA samples from the family for testing to confirm if the deceased DNA matched that of the family. After Mrs. Rasiale's DNA tests were taken, they received no further feedback on the matter for months afterwards. Through various inquiries, the SAPS eventually communicated with the family to inform them that the first DNA samples proved inconclusive. The SAPS took another DNA sample from the sister and informed the family that the results would be available in 3 months' time. The family was also informed that the body was moved from the temporarily closed Rustenburg Bokang mortuary to Brits mortuary. The brother, Mr. Thabo Rasiale, had initially physically identified the body in Rustenburg and again after the move to the Brits mortuary. The family made preparations for the burial of their deceased relative, and when they went to fetch the body at Brits mortuary, they found the body was missing. After the second round of DNA evidence, the family again did not receive any results nor any further communication from the SAPS. The family then approached community leaders as well as the media and still received no further information. The Department of Health then informed the family that 10 unidentified bodies were given a paupers burial and that they would exhume the bodies to find the mortal remains of their relative. Once again, communication to the family was lacking, and the family then, through advice and assistance, drafted a petition to approach Parliament seeking an intervention. The petitioner called for the intervention of the National Council of Provinces on the disappearance of her son. Honourable Chair, in the committee received briefings from the South African Police Services and the Provincial Department of Health on their interventions. The committee was informed that on the 13th of November 2023, SAPS and the Department of Health's forensic pathologists took a decision that an exhumation or reburial should be conducted on bodies that were buried as paupers. The family was informed about the decision on the same day. The SAPS and Department of Health also informed the family of the possibility that another DNA test could be done after exhumation, to which they all agreed. A family member would assist with the re-identification of Mr. Rasiali's mortal remains. On the 14th of November 2023, the Rustenburg Magistrates Court advised that the Department of Health should apply for reburial as the mishap was on their side, and that the application had been done and handed to the Bojanala municipality. On the 16th of November 2023, the SAPS arranged for DNA samples to be taken from the 3 siblings of the deceased. The SAPS had provided a letter to bury the mortal remains. These developments were communicated to the family. Documentation had been given to the municipality, and once permission was obtained, then the family would provide further information. Then the department would provide further information to the family. Honourable Chairperson, in terms of the committee's discussions and observations, the committee expressed its unhappiness that the turnaround time of 8 months highlighted certain deficiencies within the department and that this must be improved. The committee queried what steps would be put in place to improve communication. While the department acknowledged the lack of communication, apologized to the family, the department informed the committee that the necessary investigations and corrective measures would be put in place to improve communication moving forward. The committee further identified the non-adherence to administrative protocol within the Provincial Department of Health, with the temporary closure of the Bokang mortuary and referral of the 10 unidentified bodies to the Brits government mortuary. The bodies were not registered. The MEC committed to perform an investigation, and this would determine the consequence management that must be implemented. The committee noted that protocol and regulations were not adhered to and requested clarity on whether policies needed to be amended to rectify the situation. The MEC noted that part of the problem is that if the DNA test run by the SAPS returns inconclusive, then SAPS withholds the body, even though the family may have positively identified the remains through visual means. The Provincial Commissioner explained that once SAPS investigates a suicide, they call in the Department of Health Pathology Services to take possession of the body. And from that point onwards, the Department of Health takes over and conducts body identification at the mortuary. However, when it comes to DNA, the SAPS is tasked with collecting evidence. The Deputy Minister for Health indicated that the ministry would provide policy guidelines to all the provinces to prevent this matter from occurring in other provinces. The Deputy Minister noted that the Department of Health has a policy program at national level where the pathology committee monitors each province. Honourable Chairperson, the House should note that in terms of recommendations, way forward and commitments by the departments, the SAPS committed to finalizing the exhumation and DNA evidence within 7 days. The Department of Health is expected to cover the cost for exhumation and reburial of the deceased, as the family has already incurred costs related to this matter. The committee requested a report on the conclusion of the matter within 14 days of the date of committee engagement. The Department of Police and the Department of Health should review their policies and procedures going forward to resolve the issues highlighted with regard to the processing of DNA and the returning of mortal remains to family members for burial. Honourable Chairperson, the committee thanked the family for bringing the matter to Parliament's attention and reiterated the committee's condolences to the family and the heartache suffered at the breakdown of services to the family. The committee has expressed its unhappiness in terms of how the departments dealt with this matter and how the family was treated. Honourable Chair, I should also indicate to the House that the departments duly provided a progress report on this matter 14 days after the committee meeting. Furthermore, Honourable Chair, we are pleased to also report that this matter has been concluded. We have been informed by the Rasiali family on the 30th of February 2024 that they were happy that they had finally managed to bury their son's remains. Honourable Chair, the committee report is tabled for consideration. I thank you.
No, thank you very much, Honourable Shaikh. Honourable delegates, I have the question. The question is that the report be adopted. The report be adopted. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish, maximum of 3 minutes per declaration. Any province wishing to make a declaration? None. We'll therefore move on. We shall proceed to the voting on the question, and I now call upon provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, abstain, and will do so in alphabetical order, starting with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Eastern Cape votes in favor. Thank you.
Eastern Cape votes in favor. Free State?
Free State votes in favor, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Free State votes in favor. Thank you very much. Gauteng?
Gauteng in favor, Chairperson.
Gauteng votes in favor. Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal?
iKwaZulu-Natal yaweseka umbiko Sihlahla ngiyabonga.
KwaZulu-Natal uyaseka. Limpopo?
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Limpopo votes in favor. Mpumalanga?
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Northern Cape?
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Northern Cape is voting in favor. Northwest? Bokoni Bophirima?
Bokoni Bophirima in favor, Chair.
No, thank you very much. Western Cape?
Western Cape will support, Chair.
We can't hear. Please unmute and speak.
I've just said that the Western Cape will support.
Western Cape supports. Thank you very much. Voting closed. 9 out of 9 provinces have voted in favor. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. That takes us to the next item. And at this point, I'll call upon Honorable S. Shaikh, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Security and Justice, to present the committee report. Honorable Shaikh.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Greetings once again, and greetings to all honourable members. Honourable Chairperson, the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Bill B29/2023 was referred to the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 5th of December 2023. The committee reports that it has agreed to the bill without proposed amendments. Honourable Chairperson, the President established an investigating directorate in the Office of the National Director of Public Prosecutions by Proclamation number 20 of 2019 in terms of Section 7, Subclause 1 of the National Prosecuting Authority Act 1998. The investigating directorate is required to investigate and prosecute serious, high-profile or complex commercial or corruption cases or cases involving offences or unlawful activities arising from inter alia, the commission of inquiry into allegations of state capture, corruption, and fraud in the public sector, including organs of state, that is the State Capture Ozondo Commission. But in its current form, it is an entity created by proclamation and not a permanent entity or unit within the National Prosecuting Authority. A permanent entity will not be susceptible to a challenge on the basis that it permits undue political or executive interference with the investigating directorate's independence. The department, in its briefing to the committee, further indicated that given that the investigating directorate in its current form is not a permanent entity or unit within the NPA, the independence of the investigating directorate can be compromised, since government departments or institutions can, and in fact have threatened to recall, reassign employees from the investigating directorate, and that the NPA Act ought to be amended to make provision for the permanent appointment of investigators and the required additional skills in the investigating directorate. The bill aims to bring about amendments to the NPA Act to facilitate the establishment of a permanent entity within the office of the NDPP, and the envisaged amendments, in short, entails the establishment of the investigating directorate against corruption and the appointment of investigators, their remuneration, conditions of service, and powers. The NPA Amendment Bill supports the independence of the investigating directorate against corruption, and it seeks to amend the National Prosecuting Authority Act so as to insert certain definitions, provide for the establishment of the investigating directorate against corruption and its powers and functions, provide for the appointment of investigators in the investigating directorate against corruption, the vetting of investigators, the remuneration and condition of service of investigators, the establishment of a mechanism to deal with complaints of a serious nature pertaining to persons appointed or assigned to an investigating directorate, the powers and functions of investigators, to provide for transitional arrangements, and to provide for matters connected therewith. Honourable Chair, in response to the committee's invitation for written public comments, the committee received 4 submissions from the following organizations: AfriForum, CASAC, Transnet, and the Helen Suzman Foundation. Commentators and members of the committee requested that the NPA requires independence and meaningful reforms to address existing issues within the NPA. In this regard, the department indicated that a broader review of the legislation pertaining to the NPA will be conducted in the new administration. The National Assembly has requested that such a bill be tabled before the end of January 2025. The committee emphasized the importance of this broader reform that is required to address the concerns raised in respect of the NPA's independence. To this end, we encourage the department to conclude such a bill timelessly, as it will serve to strengthen the important work of the NPA in ensuring that the public receives access to justice efficiently and effectively. The committee further encouraged the NPA to appoint capable, competent, skillful, qualified, and knowledgeable investigators. This bill, apologies, this bill will indeed go a long way in formally establishing the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption as an independent entity, and by providing for the appointment of investigators to strengthen the fight against corruption. Honourable Chair, the Select Committee on Security and Justice, having considered the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Bill, referred to it on the 5th of December 2023, classified as Section 75 Bill, recommends that the Council pass the bill of proposed amendments. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Shaikh. Honourable delegates, before I proceed to voting, I shall allow political parties the opportunity to make the declaration of vote in terms of Rule 78, if they so wish. Maximum 3 minutes per declaration of their vote. Any political party wishing to make a declaration? Let's start with Mikalakis. Mikalakis followed by Damen. Please proceed. Mikalakis.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Chair, the DA grudgingly supports this bill for the minor aspects in which it will bring improvement. However, we believe that it does not get even close to being the answer to the problems of corruption or organised crime. It is problematic constitutionally because it does not meet the STIR's requirement of Glenister and the Constitutional Court. However, it does go some very small way to improving the current situation regarding the appointments to the investigating directorate. Yet much more needs to be done to ensure that we get the NPA on track. The DA tabled proposals for this in the Portfolio Committee, and we were given the assurance that a bill to address these concerns will be brought urgently. It should have happened a long time ago already. However, we support this bill for what it's worth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Damen.
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, the proliferation of corruption across all sectors in the country is an indication of the failure of the institutions of justice and their inability to respond tirelessly and to stop corruption and make the corrupt account for their ways. One of the most ineffective institutions of criminal justice in the country is the Executing Authority, which has not been able to successfully prosecute white-collar crimes in particular. This bill seeks to create an investigative directorate for corruption within the NPA and granted wide investigative powers. The EFF strongly opposes the piecemeal approach to the legislative reforms required at the NPA. We believe that the proposed amendments are inadequate and do not address the fundamental issues at hand. The establishment of any investigation directorate against corruption as a permanent entity within the NPA raises serious concerns. This directorate has the potential to usurp powers of the police and create overlap and confusion in investigation processes. This bill does not go far in the NPA independence. This bill is a directorate against corruption. We oppose the National Prosecuting Authority Amendment Bill and assert that the National Prosecuting Authority should be made a Chapter 9 institution to ensure its independence and effectiveness in combating corruption. Any amendments to the Act should be carefully considered and thoroughly comprehensive in addressing these fundamental issues. The EFF rejects this bill.
Thank you very much. Any other declaration? Bartlett.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Bartlett, please proceed.
Yes, Chair. Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, please proceed.
Chair, the African National Congress rises in support of the National Prosecution Authority Amendment Bill. President Ramaphosa, in his maiden State of Nation address in 2018, made a commitment of turning the tide of corruption in our public institutions. He announced that urgent attention would be given to the leadership issues at the National Prosecuting Authority to ensure that this critical institution is stabilized and able to perform its mandate unhindered, without any fear, favor, and prejudice indeed. The leadership issues of the NPA were tendered to, and the National Director of Public Prosecutions was appointed. Keeping true to his promise, shortly after the address in terms of S84 1F of the Constitution, the State Capture Commission was established to investigate matters of public and national interest concerning allegations of state capture, corruption, and fraud. The terms of reference, Chair, were concerned predominantly with the practices of executive members of the state and the nature of their relationships with private individuals. The Commission has been critical in ensuring that the extent and nature of state capture is established, that confidence in public institutions is restored, and that those responsible for any wrongdoing should be identified. It must be noted that the ANC gave its full support to the Commission of Inquiry. The Commission ultimately found that state capture did indeed take place in South Africa on an extensive scale and made recommendations which are being implemented. In 2019, the Investigation Directorate Against Corruption was established. In the 2023 State of Nation Address, Chair, President Ramaphosa pronounced that the Investigative Directorate Against Corruption will be a permanent feature of our anti-corruption law enforcement effort. This move is aimed at ensuring the effective implementation of the recommendations of the State Capture Commission. Honorable Chairperson, the Investigative Directorate Against Corruption investigates corruption-related crimes uncovered by the Commission and the Commission of South African Revenue Services and Public Investigation Corporation. Honorable Chair, a prosecution-led investigation model is the most effective way to prosecute crimes like corruption, as demonstrated by international best practices. This bill aims to provide for appointment investigators, investigating director against corruption and investigators to ensure greater investigative capacity and capability. Honorable Chair, we have considered the urgency of the proposed amendments, which are limited in scope and extended as an intermediate measure to improve the investigating director's capacity. Pending the recommendations of the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council. Honorable Chair, a balance is needed. We are of the view that there is a need for legislation which comprehensively addresses aspects relating to the NPA's independence. Honorable Chair, this bill is a significant step towards enhancing the NPA's independence and ability to prosecute high-level crimes. Overall, this bill is a crucial step in strengthening South Africa's anti-corruption efforts and ensuring that those who engage in corrupt practices are held accountable for their actions. The ANC has long supported independent investigating directorate and prosecuting authority. We have been unequivocal about rooting out corruption. And while there is some criticism levels towards the bill, Chair, this permanent structure is established by legislation and will enjoy legislative protection. We must stand united against corruption, Chair, and embrace accountability, transparency, and good governance. Honorable Chair, the African National supports the bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bartlett. We'll then move on, Honorable Delegates, and allow space 1 minute to delegates who are outside the chamber and the virtual platform to join the House. And that minute starts now.
One minute is over.
Yes, 1 minute is over. We will therefore proceed at voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. The bill be agreed to. We'll start with those fellow delegates who want to vote in favor. Please raise your hands. And keep them there.
Honorable Nkosi, vote in favor, Honorable Chair. I've got a problem with my gadget here.
Noted.
Sekwati, vote in favor, Chair.
Noted.
Would you say in favor, Chair?
Munition in favor, noted.
Okay, just note that Honourable Labuschagne is struggling to get onto the platform. So just note her vote as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's noted. Is she voting in favor? No, noted. Noted. May not necessarily be voting in favor. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure the counting has been done. If that's the case, those hands should be lowered. Thank you very much. We'll then move to those delegates who want to vote against. Please, let's have your hands.
Honorable Makwala against.
No, noted.
The extremes are voting together today.
Voting with who together?
I think the hand of the chief whip is up by mistake of Ntate Mogai.
No, it's not a mistake. It's true. It's true.
Not a mistake.
It's voting against.
Ntate Mogai, ke the legacy hand, Chair.
No,
He was
it can't
raising
be.
his hand.
No,
he's
rejecting.
He's rejecting. No, Why do you speak on his behalf? He can't reject.
No,
He
it cannot be right. It's not right. Honorable Mogai is not rejecting.
Thank you very much.
The legacy
I'm sure
hand.
counting has been done. And that being the case, the hands can be lowered. We'll have the table to lower the hands. Thank you very much. We'll now go to those delegates who are abstaining. Those abstaining, please put your hands up. Those abstaining, then it seems none. The count is completed and voting is now closed. And the results are in. And the results are as follows: 35 in favor, 8 against, 0 abstentions. The bill is therefore agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Thank you very much. Allow me, fellow delegates, at this point to thank all the permanent delegates and special delegates who are part of these proceedings, as well as Salga representatives who have availed themselves for the sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. The House is now adjourned. Thank you very much. Bye.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.
Abule.
Thank you, Chair.